Hello, MB Timers. Trying something new out. Anyways, I am your friendly neighborhood INFP, and there has been a influx of uncreative people out there. People who reach for, I suppose, what could only be considered as low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit that isn't all that accurate. Maybe a little bit rotten. Maybe it's already fallen off the tree. Maybe it's just there on the ground, and like instead of like reaching up for an actual low hanging fruit, they're reaching down for like an apple that maybe has a worm in it. I don't know. The point is, there are many people who, when they make jokes that come to INFPs, they're like, INFPs are crybabies because I don't have any imagination. And it's gotten to the point where I've gotten far too annoyed with this at the strong consistency of the one theme across the board from people who maybe they do know about INFPs, maybe they don't, but it's leading on a stereotype that is, well, not all that accurate. When it comes to emotions, INFPs are quite personal with them, quite intimate with their own emotions. Aside from their own value, our own value systems and our own morals and everything, we are also extraordinarily picky about who we're sharing emotions with, and we don't even know how to tell other people what we're feeling. Like, we personally know, but we don't know how to tell other people that. And a lot of the time, it is not us crying at the drop of a hat, as so many jokes seem to go. It's annoying by this point, and most INFPs will be banging their heads against whatever due to the level of irritation it's starting to bring to most of us. Thus, this video. When it comes to emotions, we while we are emotional people, we are seen more aloof. We are seen more emotionless. Or at least we can be seen emotionless. We can be seen as whimsical, even. We can be seen as many different things, but even annoyed would be up there with what most INFPs are seen, because like that's what one thing I've been accused on is that I'm often annoyed, not interested, aloof, distant. And many other INFPs will feel the same. They are aloof, distant, separated, and they may want to draw closer, but they don't know how, and they don't know how to express their emotions. They know what they're feeling, they know why they're feeling, they just don't know how to express it. And should heaven forbid an INFP actually cry, just know that you've pushed them to a point where the emotions are flowing over, and it's not easy to do that. You need to hit them in very key points before they let the bottle burst. We are notorious for bottling our emotions. And should we have a super stressful day? Should we have a thing where, we're trying to hold on to our emotions, we usually will not let other people see this. And as soon as we get home, as soon as we get to the confines of our own room, we will try and essentially let out those emotions in some creative facet, or like even doesn't even have to be like a creative facet that we're doing. It could be a creative facet that somebody else is doing, like watching somebody paint can be like super relaxing for us, or like super allowing us to let go of the feelings that have been bottling up and like almost overflowing. We could be playing games, we could be listening to music, and some of the times that music is really angry rock music, or metal music, or death metal, or whatever that there is that calms us down. And it's not just the whole crying thing, it's also anger, it's also just any emotion ever. We tend to bottle it, and To quote several people who have, especially like even including my sister, who have said this about us INFPs, is that it is like teeth, or no, not like teeth. It is like pulling teeth to try and get us to talk about our emotions. It is like pulling teeth to try us to get us more open about our emotions. It is like pulling teeth to just about anything to get us to disclose anything that's personal. So imagine for a moment if an INFP has a difficult time showing that to their own family who they're close to. Do you really think they're going to willingly show that to a stranger or a friend who they're not that close to? I don't think so. It doesn't happen. I've never seen it happen. And to be fair, I don't know how it is with female INFPs, but from what I've seen is a lot of them seem to be very reserved, very within themselves. Like for example, I believe Cinderella is said to be an INFP. Do you ever see her cry? No. And then there are like a bunch of other INFPs who are in shows and you never see them cry. I think April is her name April? From Parks and Rec. I've seen people type her as an INFP and she's very aloof. But what makes her an INFP in their minds? And it depends on where you go with this, but what makes her an INFP in their minds is that she sticks to her morals and values, but very rarely does she show her emotions out in public. Except for the one where she's like either cold, distant, or very aloof, or like the slight smiles or whatever. She is not a open person. Like, people don't seem to realize that suddenly breaking down and crying is a very not Phi thing to do. In fact, I would go so far as to say that you're probably looking at either an ISFJ, maybe an ESFJ, potentially an INFJ, but INFJs are also distant in their own way, which makes people get confused as to whether or not they're usually an INFP or an INFJ, especially if they think they're close to each other. The point is, we don't, oh, this is so beautiful, I'm going to break down and cry. If there's a super moving scene in a movie that speaks to our core, yes, we will cry, but we'll usually try and hold it in. Some of us are a little weaker at this than others. If there's a super moving thing in a book, well, congratulations, you're already in the confines of your own room where nobody is going to see you, and you just so happen to get to that point in the book that seems to be very highly emotional. You're going to break down and cry. Most people will with those kinds of books. It's like, reading Chicken Noodle Soup for the Pet Lover's Soul. Holy crap, some of those stories. You would have to be inhuman to not cry at some of those stories. So to blame that, only an INFP, it's annoying is what I'm trying to say. And yes, I realize that this is a bit of a rant, but people need to understand just how distant INFPs are from showing their emotions. Will they be happy? Will they be calm? Will they be like a bunch of other stuff? Yes, people usually feel at ease around INFPs. People usually feel comfortable around INFPs. But for the most part, we do not show our emotions super heavily as some other people do. Can we get amused easily? Yes. Can we laugh easily? Yes. Can we cry easily? Not quite. It takes a little bit more than that because that becomes even more intimate. It's like anger. Unless some great injustice has happened, we don't want to show it. Can one say that an INFP will get emotional over something? Yes. Now, okay, here's the thing that's going to blow your minds. I have seen probably my sister cry and be super emotional more times than she's seen me be that way. She's seen me be annoying, she's seen me be angry, she's seen me be whatever, but to break down and actually cry, yeah, she has done that more than me. I've seen INTPs cry more than I have. I have seen other types cry more than I have. So please, for the love of all that is holy, where are you getting this stereotype that INFPs cry at the drop of a hat. I don't get it, especially since it's not true. Maybe you caught, like, and even if you did catch them at like a super vulnerable spot, just how many times, if you're with an actual INFP, do you see them crying? Or is it more that you see them being more calm and collected, or whimsical, or aloof, or whatever, and, you know, you're like, oh, okay, well, that person seems to have it together. Meanwhile, see, there's a reason why I chose the song A Silent Storm by Carl Espen for INFP's theme song. It is because we're not showing the storm on the outside. The storm's happening in here. Not out there, in here. And that's why there's the line that says, there's a silent storm within me, looking for a way. Like, our storm of emotions is trying to get out, but we don't let it if we can help it. You would have needed to pinpoint an INFP's value so hard and insult it so brutally or so whatever that, yes, they probably will break down and cry. But, you know, if somebody targets something that you cared about and did something, you know, not so nice, you probably would have an emotional reaction too, wouldn't you? So the point I'm trying to say with this video is that for us INFPs, our emotions are an incredibly private and intimate thing set aside to be seen only by the closest of people, which may not even include their own family, who may be trying to get them to show more emotions. Given the fact that, like, we know what we're feeling, we know when we're feeling it, we know why we're feeling it, but, like, it would be really hard for an INFP to set a revolution or to set up an army or to defend somebody if they suddenly broke down and became super helpless. INFPs, this is where, like, a bit of a negative bit comes in, can be extraordinarily defensive. You want to see how an INFP usually will emotionally react? They will take something personally and they will defend themselves. I know, because I tend to do that a lot with myself, even though I try not to. But, like, if there's something that hits them into a point, they will try and either defend themselves or try to defend it. Usually it's themselves. It's a personal thing. So oftentimes people will have to say, don't take this personally, to an INFP, because we have a horrible tendency of taking things personally. And then we get usually angry. We don't break down and cry. We usually get angry. We start an argument. There ends up being a fight. Mean words are said. Everything gets heightened. Everybody starts getting super emotional. And, you know, bad things come of it. Now, is this always the case? No. But remember, I was also the guy who would literally defend back when the flame wars of the forums would happen over various animes and games. And I'm sure they still had to happen in some sense or the other. But I would be the guy who would defend, like, this is the hill and I'm dying on it. That's the level of defense you may end up getting with an INFP. There is no, oh no, I've suddenly become super helpless because, oh, it's so touching, or, oh, I'm so offended, or, oh, I'm so weak, and get over yourself. Anyways, that is it for this video. I hope that was at least somewhat informative. And if you see somebody being super emotional out in the open, it's probably not an INFP. Thank you, and I'll see you guys for the next video. Bye-bye.